The subway train rattled loudly as it sped through the underground tunnels of the city. It was a cold Monday morning, and the train was crowded with tired commuters heading to work or school. Among them stood a young university student named Emily Carter. She was only 22, but life had already tested her in ways most people her age could not imagine. Emily worked 2 part-time jobs while attending college full-time. Her father had passed away years ago, and her mother struggled with medical bills. Every single day, Emily fought quietly to keep her dreams alive. That morning she had barely slept. She had spent the entire night studying for an important exam while worrying about the rent she still had not paid. Her backpack felt heavier than usual, filled with textbooks and responsibilities far beyond her age. When she stepped onto the subway, every seat was already taken except one near the middle of the carriage. Exhausted, Emily quickly sat down, closing her eyes for a moment as the train jerked forward. At the next stop, more passengers rushed in. Among them was a fragile elderly woman with silver hair and kind eyes. She leaned slightly on a wooden cane and looked around for a place to sit, but the train was completely full. Some passengers noticed her but quickly looked away, pretending not to see her. Everyone seemed too busy with their phones, their music, or their own worries. Emily noticed her immediately. For a moment, Emily hesitated. Her legs were aching, and she knew she had a long day ahead, classes, work, and then another late night of studying. But the moment she saw the elderly woman struggling to stand as the train moved, Emily's heart made the decision before her mind could argue. She stood up. "Ma'am, please take my seat," Emily said softly with a warm smile. The elderly woman looked surprised. "Oh dear, are you sure? You look tired." Emily nodded. "It's okay. I'll be fine." The old woman smiled gratefully and slowly sat down. "Thank you, my child. Kindness like this is rare these days." Emily simply smiled and held onto the metal pole as the train continued moving. Across from them sat a young man wearing headphones and a dark jacket. He had watched the entire interaction carefully but said nothing. His expression was thoughtful, almost curious, as he studied Emily for a moment before looking away again. Meanwhile, the elderly woman began speaking gently with Emily. "What's your name?" she asked. "Emily," she replied. "Well, Emily, you have a very kind heart," the woman said. "Many people today would pretend they didn't see me." Emily shrugged slightly. "My grandmother always taught me that kindness costs nothing." The woman chuckled warmly. "Your grandmother must be a wise lady." For the rest of the ride, they talked casually. Emily mentioned she was studying economics and working part-time at a small cafe to pay for her tuition. The elderly woman listened carefully, her eyes filled with admiration. "You work very hard," she said quietly. Emily smiled, though a hint of sadness crossed her face. "I have to. Dreams don't come free." Soon the subway reached the next major station. Emily prepared to get off. Before she left, the elderly woman gently touched her arm. "Emily, thank you again. I hope life rewards your kindness someday." Emily laughed lightly. Helping someone doesn't need a reward. She waved goodbye and disappeared into the busy station crowd. But what Emily didn't know was that the young man with headphones stood up immediately after she left. He walked over to the elderly woman. "Grandmother," he said. The woman looked up with a smile. "Daniel, did you see that girl?" Daniel nodded slowly. Daniel Hayes was not just any young commuter. He was the grandson of Margaret Hayes, one of the wealthiest women in the city and the founder of a billion-dollar investment company. Daniel himself had recently taken over much of the family business and was known as one of the youngest self-made millionaires in the country. Margaret looked thoughtful. "That girl didn't know who I was," she said softly. "She helped simply because it was the right thing to do." Daniel glanced toward the subway doors where Emily had exited moments earlier. "In this city," he said quietly, "that kind of person is rare." Margaret smiled knowingly. "Find her," she said. Daniel raised an eyebrow. "Why?" Margaret's eyes sparkled. "Because people like her deserve opportunities. And I have a feeling this is not the last time our lives will cross with Emily Carter." Meanwhile, Emily rushed through the station trying not to be late for class. She had no idea that a simple act of kindness, something she considered completely ordinary, had just caught the attention of one of the most powerful families in the city. She was still worrying about her rent, her exams, and how she would survive another exhausting week. What she didn't know was that her life was about to change forever. And sometimes, the smallest act of kindness can open the biggest doors. If this story touched your heart and you enjoy inspiring stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Your support helps us bring you more powerful and emotional stories that remind us all that kindness still exists in this world.